Good evening, everyone. Today is November 6, 2025. The time is 6 p.m. and this is the Acushnet Planning Board. This meeting is being recorded for future viewing on the town's YouTube page, YouTube site, and on the New Bedford media channel. Can I get a motion to open the planning board meeting?
I make a motion to open the meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a quorum tonight. Can we introduce ourselves?
Victoria Albaro, Town Planner.
Peter Guyap, a member.
Mark Francois, Chairman.
Brian Deschamps, member.
Rick Ellis, Vice Chairman.
Okay, minutes. We got the minutes to the September 4th meeting sent to us. Everybody was in attendance except for Steve Boucher. He's not here tonight anyways. Has everybody had a chance to look these over? Any questions, comments, concerns?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from September 4th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fabulous. We have another set of minutes here from October 16th. Myself, Brian, and Steve were in attendance. Rick and Peter were not. We can still vote on them as is. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from October 16th.
I got a motion. All in favor? Second, excuse me.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll have to abstain, I wasn't here.
We have one abstain. Very good. Moving on. Discussion. Demolition affidavit, 39 Keene Road, Angelo Drive subdivision. Applicant owner AMN Estate Holding LLC. Representative Alex Machado. There's nobody here representing, so I'll just read the affidavit real quick, give you a quick, I, AMN Estate Holding LLC, of having personal knowledge of the facts herein stated under oath, depose and say as follows. This affidavit is being recorded to show that 39 Keene Road, Acushnet, Mass. 02743 is owned by the above LLC, and the deed is recorded in Book 14510, page 305, in Bristol County SD Registry of Deeds. The building on said premise is to be removed upon completion of the project, and 2 lots will remain under covenant through the planning board until the existing home on 39 Keene Road has been demolished. So basically very self-explanatory. There was a legality, an opening, so to speak, that wasn't closed at the original meeting, that the building needed to be demolished, and he wasn't, the building department wasn't issuing a building permit until said building was demolished. So we are going to put the demolition of that building under 2 of the 5 lots that are under the covenant at the moment. We have 5 lots on the covenant. So 2 of them will also add the demolition of this existing house on 39 Keene Road. Pretty self-explanatory. Anybody got any questions, comments? Let's take a quick vote. I'll entertain a motion to accept this affidavit for the demolition of 39 Keene Road under 2 house lots.
I make a motion that we approve the affidavit that you just read.
I got a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. To continue, this is continued discussion on amending the business village district. So we've had multiple meetings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so this is probably number 8 on amending the village district A. One of the things that's still open is naming the village district. So at the moment, we got in orange is the business village. In blue, we have commercial business. In yellow, we have industrial. In the white is just residential A, and in orange here is residential village. Now, the business village, which is highlighted in orange here, I don't know if you guys can see it or you're familiar with it. This, we're looking to continue this all the way to Lake. I've had people concerns with using the name Business Village when that goes outside of the village. My personal opinion, I think we should just rename it completely, and instead of keeping it Business Village and then adding another color and another name from here to Lake. I think we should basically just remove the word village and just make it business district or business zoned, or I'm open to suggestions.
Were you gonna hold the same lot sizes as the business village district all the way up Main Street? That would be my only question. You know, I don't know, what are the minimum lot sizes in the business village district?
For residential home building?
Well, if it's gonna be one name, and you
Well-
can have residential and business village district. then-
Well, we have residential village. No, see, I'd like to keep residential village, the
Okay,
yellow, where there's residents,
yep,
that stays residential village.
yep,
It's the orange, or red, I guess you could call it, red, which is South Main to center to here,
mhm.
that is business village.
Oh, okay, all right,
I'd like to keep it business, because I'd like to continue that red line all the way to Lake,
mhm.
but I've heard grumblings out and about that people don't like to use the word village when it's outside the village.
Mhm.
So instead of having business village from here to here, and then business something else from here to Lake, my recommendation, and I'm open to suggestions, is keeping it business, all one word, when it goes through the village, all the way to Lake, just removing the word village, because not only is it in village, but it's also outside of village.
It was all residential lots along Main Street,
Right.
towards the north end of town. What are the residential, what are the allowable residential lot sizes on the business village district as it sits right now?
Well,
Or can you not have any residences at all?
Repeat that again, sorry?
Well, I'm just wondering what the minimum lot sizes would end up being.
Yeah.
You know,
Please.
So, to answer your first question, right as it sits right now, or as it stands right now, the business village district allows any uses that are already permitted in the residential A district. So all of the residential.
Okay, that's
uses.
uses, yeah.
Yep.
No, what,
And-
go ahead.
Yeah. For the lot sizes, right now, it's 10,000 square feet is
Oh.
the minimum lot size
For residential or for everything?
for that district. Yep.
Okay.
For the residential village,
For the business village
for the
district.
business village district.
So you would be allowing residential lots 10,000 square feet all along North Main Street? That's what I was getting at. unless you either have a different district or you have something in there that changes the
Yeah.
lot size.
I think, at least if I'm understanding correctly, based on our discussions, we're trying to promote a mixed use along that strip. So
Mhm.
I don't think, or at least under my understanding from our discussions, we would kind of strike that, saying that all residential uses are allowed. Because we'd want to promote the mixed use, right? You want to have have the commercial, but, you can do, a residence above. You want to kind of see the first floor commercial, I would say.
Well, what I'm getting at is, right now you've got 150 feet of frontage and 60,000 square foot lots.
Yes.
So that would mean if you got enough frontage, whatever the frontage requirement is, you could put quite a number of lots on. You could put 6 residences or 6 businesses on that 60,000 square foot lot if you've got enough frontage. What's the frontage requirement?
Frontage right now is 60 feet.
Okay, so that would let you carve up every residential lot on North Main Street to, in half. You could put two residences pretty much on any lot that you've got on North Main Street right now. That's all I'm getting
Business.
at.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I'm glad I'm glad you're bringing that up. But it would be business, it would have to be a business. So basically, if let's just say you got 150 feet, 60,000 square feet lot, you could cut that in half and put 2 businesses on that lot, even though they have living spaces above it.
mhm.
I-
What about if you have a separate residence, like there is in many places along North Main Street? I look at it like that's an opportunity to split all the lots in half and make some more money.
I guess I was interpreting this differently. I thought we were gonna just keep what the setbacks were in those zones, but allow, if somebody wanted to put a business there, didn't mean that we were gonna shrink frontage or we're gonna shrink square footage.
That's
But
what.
we're just saying you have the right to put a business there.
Yes. That's how.
Not that we're gonna use the business district setbacks and lot sizes and,
Right. That's
that's how I was interpreting.
That's how I would.
As long as it's clearly written that
Oh.
way, yeah.
Well, then that's different. That's,
Yeah.
I was not interpreting, I don't think
Okay.
we're all having the same conversation.
Well, that,
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know, that's how I was
Okay.
interpreting it from, since we've been doing it, that yes, we're gonna change the zone to say you have the right to put a business there, but we weren't gonna shrink down setbacks and lot sizes.
The only setback that I was thinking about shrinking was the
Was
300
down, right.
the 300 feet that you have off of
Right,
the main
300 feet setback.
setback. That was the only setback that I was thinking about.
It seems like the best thing would be to have like a business village A and a business village B. Because other than that, you're gonna get very confused between the 2 districts as to which setbacks apply and which lot sizes apply. That's all. I think it would make it a little more clear.
Now, even though, let's just say Village District A
Mhm.
is where it is now, in the village,
Mhm.
and Village District B is outside the village, do you still want to keep the word village?
It doesn't, to me, it's irrelevant. It's just how the zoning is written up for that district, that's all. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it, it's just a name. You can call it mixed use district. You can call it, Business Village B. The name is,
Yeah.
it really is what are gonna be the lot size requirements, the setback requirements, the parking requirements, the coverage requirements, all of those things. And you're probably gonna want a different coverage requirement than you've got in the central part of town, where things are almost completely covered with pavement and buildings in different areas. Just bringing it up as a discussion point, that's all. I honestly, I think you're better off with 2 separate names and a separate write-up for what happens in the other district, the new district.
Yeah, if you're wanting what's beyond the center to have different, or beyond the village, to have different dimensional requirements, like the frontage and lot size and things like that, then yeah, it would make sense to do two different ones. I still think the business village needs to be reworked regardless of the name change, one or two districts, whatever the case may be. I was under the impression that we were continuing those requirements, so I'm sorry if I misunderstood that.
No, I'm just, I don't know that it was set one way or the other. I mean, that's a question. You know, if you want to have high-density development in wherever the lines are drawn for this new district, you know, just keep in mind that it may look a little different than it looks now. 60 feet of frontage and 10,000 square foot lots, you know, that's considerably more density along North Main Street.
Yeah, I
That's
think
right
that
now.
would be,
That's all.
I think that would be too much, I think.
Yeah,
I wasn't, that's not what I had envisioned. I had envisioned having the ability to put up a business by right,
Mhm.
not by special permit. By right, mixed use. You can have a business on the downstairs, down first floor, you can have a dwelling on the second floor. Anywhere.
I think that's a great idea. You know, it needs to be written up so that you know what the density requirements, the lot size requirements, the frontage requirements are all, and the uses have got to be listed. And, yeah, you know, it's just got to be clear. And you've got to have clear lines too. You know, that's part of creating the district, is somehow you're going to have to create the district lines. And, I mean, you can either do it as, you know, the simplest way is to say it's 300 feet back from the side of the road, or 600, or whatever the magic number is. You can also do it as groups of lots. You know, there's a number of ways to do it, but you have to define the lines. So that when somebody picks up the zoning regulation, they can look at that lot, they can look at the zoning regulation and say, okay, this lot is all included in that district, I can do X. Maybe the lot is half in one district, half in another, you know, and there can be regulations written to cover that also. Those are just considerations, but certainly in terms of usage, I don't see any reason why you can't define an area and, you know, pick what usages you want. And if you want it to be mixed, if you want to allow mixed with residential and business, that's fine. If it's going to be just residential, you know, just be careful what you do with frontage and lot size, or you're going to end up with some higher density development all along the street.
That, we were also in discussions with that, so that was, we've been discussing also reviewing zoning, and there's areas that I feel zoning can be changed, the more, the areas that are, I don't know if you have a map in front of you.
That's all right.
Some of these purple shaded developments are 10, 15, 20,000 square foot lots.
Yep.
And if this is all 20,000 square foot lots, that person owns that, and that can be cut up into 20,000 square foot lot, then he should have that right. Because it's part of that.
if he's surrounded by 20,000 square foot lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, that, I think as you get closer to the center of town, that's a different discussion than the north end of town, if you will.
And I think that was part of that discussion we were having, saying,
Yeah.
we would say, yeah, this area over here that does have the smaller square footage, that we would say, yeah, if you're surrounded by this, or you're in a butter to this, you should be able to do that. But as far as that going all the way down Main Street, like I said, I was under the impression, no, we would just keep the zone the way it is, but we saying, if you want to put a business there, you can, by right.
Yeah,
That's
That's another way to do it. It would just include all of the land that's got that zoning designation, not just right along the street. That's all.
repeat that?
Well, if you're going to say you keep the you keep the lot sizes the way, well, if you kept the lot sizes the way they are,
60,000 square
Yeah.
feet.
but it's the same as, it's gotta have a different name, or else you'll be allowing businesses on every lot in whatever it is, residential A or residential B.
Right, it needs its own zone.
Yes, it needs its own zone. Or unless, I mean, if that's the intent too, you can say, okay, everything in residential A you can have a business on that lot if you've got enough land area to meet the coverage requirements, the parking requirements. And the parking requirements get to be important too. And not, I mean, right, every time I drive by, what's Rochelle's Scuttlebutts, you know, they've got the restaurant on one side. We'll have a parking problem there in the morning. That's why it leads into parking requirements. You know, if typically a restaurant is going to have like 3 parking spaces per seat or 2 parking spaces per seat, it's different in different towns and in different districts. But if you don't require that they be able to build enough parking spaces to support the use, then you're gonna have people out on the street and people across the street complaining to the selectmen and the police that there's people parking in their front yard in the morning. That's already happened.
Now,
That's not a
Right.
now
that's not a pretend consideration.
all right, so I'm just kind of thinking out loud. So if you have these lots on Main Street, like this one, whatever, right near Leonard Street, it's a big lot. Can you have it worded to where if it's a business, it's one dimension, if it's a resident, it's a different dimension?
As long as it's written up that way, yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want people who have 3 acres, 4 acres, whatever, the size, and they have one house here in the front to say, oh, now I can cut this up into a bunch of 10,000 square foot lots and put a bunch of houses on.
That's what I was getting at
Yeah,
previously.
I don't, that's not the intention of what
Mhm.
I think we want to do. But if somebody has, 2, 3 acres here with a house on it, but yet has enough room to put, 2 storefronts
Mhm.
on 20,000 square feet, as long as it's a business, that's what I'm trying to promote, is a business.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
not
want
arguing.
I don't want to
with you. I'm just-
increase. I know. I just don't know if I'm getting the wording across right. I want to increase business, and if you happen to put an apartment above it, so be it.
Mhm.
But I'm looking to help people put in small. Obviously, you got to look at septic, you got to look at setbacks, you got to look at everything. But I'm looking to try to promote more businesses on Main Street,
Mhm.
but without flooding it with residents of residential homes,
Yeah.
without being a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Brian?
Yeah, I'm just
Am I
not,
getting it?
I'm not in the 10,000 square foot thing, I'm staying with the residential setbacks at the way they are, and you're able to put a business on it, end of story.
So you need to have 150 feet of frontage and
Yeah, you're not-
60,000 square
Yeah,
feet.
you're not changing any of that. You know?
Pete?
Yeah, I think that, I agree with what Brian just said. I think that you're just gonna open a can of worms if you start letting people break, if we don't word it right and they start breaking up all these lots into, I mean,
I don't want that to happen.
I'm just looking at, I mean, if a builder sees a way to put six house lots on that lot, they'll buy the house and carve it up and put six houses there. Yeah, that's
Well, it's
all.
not, but this isn't for, it's not mainly for housing, it's mainly.
Oh, no, I know,
for
but-
commercial development. Okay, I
But
just
it's,
wanna make sure we're
but
talking.
if a
about the
residence
same
is
thing.
allowed, well then, you know,
But if it
as long
has
as
to
it's
be
written
mixed
up
use,
so that you can't do that, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what Mark is getting at, and I mean, historically, that end of town was, somebody lived there and had a small business. I mean, you can go along North Main Street, and whether it was a farm, you know, a gas station, you know, or whatever, that's a fair, well, there is development along North Main Street like that, because that's the way it was. People have a farm, and they'd have their
Yeah.
house there. People would have I think Harding had his garage there. I believe he lived next to it. I don't remember, being quite honest with you, but that's not uncommon, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as we're not carving everything up into small lots to get businesses and residential usages, that's all.
If you make this mixed use or whatever you call it, is that gonna be a problem, like say if you have business, 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 house in the middle, business, 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 is that?
Yeah, if you're the house in the middle, you might not be
Might
real
not be.
happy with that.
Right.
I don't know if we have enough open lots or open space on Main Street for even that to happen unless you know, residents were turning their houses into businesses. I don't think I see that happening. I just think of, and again, when you look at a map like this and you see an open square, you don't know what's on that open square.
Right.
You know what I mean? There could be a house on that square. I know there's, you know, purple ones and non-purple ones. You don't know what these are.
Right.
But I know when I drive down Main Street, I don't see a bunch of open property for sale or even farms that are, you know. I'm trying to think outside the box to try to bring in small businesses, and Main Street, because it's such a busy road, would be the ideal place. Now, our job is to word it in such a way that small businesses can come, but yet we don't want to open it up to residents to
You
just
can
start
do-
popping in houses everywhere either.
You could do an accessory business, you know, in a residential zone. You know, you could do it that way. You know, if somebody's got a house there now and they want to do a small business in the back, you know, you've got the lot the way it sits, you've got the residential A zoning, but you allow an accessory business in a residential zone. Believe it or not, that's the way it used to be in town a long, long time ago.
Yeah, that's what I see is when you drive down, you see like, you know, Country Hardware, you see all these businesses that are there now,
Mhm.
but you can't do that today.
Yeah, and again, if as long as it's worded and you understand what you're getting into with that wording, yes, you certainly can do that. You know, I'm gonna go on the other, in another direction here, just quickly. Next to my my mobile home park, if you go to look at one of the adjacent properties, it used to be a C.R. Leonard a welding shop. You know, now, I don't know what it is, but it's packed with, it's just packed right out to the street with vehicles parked there and different kinds of things parked there. So you've got to think about whether you want to allow things like that. I know too, on the south end of town, there's a couple of contractors' yards out there, and some people aren't real happy about having that next door either. So, we used to hear things from Bill Merritt at that time, that, he would get a lot of complaints about the contractor yard on South Main Street.
This has to go in front of the town meeting anyways, and
No, I know.
I know we'd get a lot of questions, and I'm sure we'd get a lot of...
I'm just rambling too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we have residents that complain about taxes being high, which our taxes are high. We have, because we are, how much, what's our percentage?
95%
You're speaking to the choir.
residential.
I agree with you, and the only reason I'm bringing these things
Yeah,
up
no, I'm glad
is
you are.
just for discussion.
I'm glad you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why we're having these roundtable conversations to try to
You
iron
don't
some
wanna
of these...
just open a free-for-all up there either.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and if you're the one that just bought that $750,000 house, and all of a sudden a contractor's yard goes in next to you, you're probably not gonna be that happy.
Well, that's why when you talk about, as you get through, working through the bylaw and what the vision is, because I think, at least from what I'm understanding, I'm hearing a little bit different today than what our conversations have been, at least my interpretation of it. So I think we really need to decide on what the vision is for this bylaw. Like if we're promoting, for example, like you mentioned a contractor yard. If the idea is to promote a mixed use, having small business on the first floor and residential on the top, which is typically how a mixed use looks, then you wouldn't have a contractor's yard. That's not something you would zone for. You would zone.
No, I understand.
But that's just what I'm trying to say is like that's not. If that wasn't, if we didn't put that as an allowed use, that wouldn't happen. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It would be a small retail type store, maybe an office, that sort of thing. That's.
I mean, I would think that that's probably the best place to start, is a table of allowed uses in that zone.
That's a good point. A table of
That's,
allowed uses.
When I used to try and do commercial developments, that was the first thing I looked at, what's allowed. And, if it's not allowed, well, then you've got to get it, and it's not allowed by special permit, then you've got to try and get a variance, which are very difficult to get, especially for commercial use. So, but allowed uses, that's like number one in the definition of the zone. So I would say, let's start, at least for discussion, with a list of allowed uses.
So just if we can almost take a step back from that real quick. So
Mhm.
I just want to be clear as to what we're looking for. So I know what other bylaws to look for and what to information to bring to the board. So are we moving away from the mixed use idea? Because I also,
No.
if I'm also
No,
hearing that to keep to have an accessory business or something like that, like somebody mentioned business in the back, and keeping the 60,000 square feet lots. Like I'm just not quite sure.
The lot situation is, I think, where the miscommunication was. I think Rick brings up a good point. If we can't, you can't have the same 10,000 square foot, 60,000, 60 feet frontage and 10,000 square foot lots that we have in the village continue all the way up, because everybody's gonna start breaking up their lots to put residents on there. Or unless we word it to where, to get that frontage and size, it has to be a business. Right?
Do you mean, so like, typically with a mixed use, you have like, I'm just trying to understand.
No, because
I don't
it's
think
really
we- I
more
don't think we
complicated than we
understand, so
think.
don't worry.
Okay, that's what it
Well,
comes
because I
down to.
think we're all thinking of like different things in our heads. It might be helpful if maybe next time I kind of have some pictures of what these things look like from the zone to how it looks on the ground. I think some visioning would be helpful. But what I'm thinking of is a business either on the first, just like we have a couple on over here on South Main. You kind of have a first floor business, retail, and then you have, if somebody wants to add a mixed use component, they can put a residence on top. I've seen, that's sort of what I'm thinking of. I'm not sure what.
I agree with you
That's-
as far as
okay.
that definition
Right.
is concerned.
Okay.
Now, it's what will the lot size be for that? So if somebody down on Main Street,
Yeah.
or whatever, let's just say they have 2 acres,
Yeah.
round numbers, they got 2 acres on Main Street. If they are gonna be allowed to cut that lot in half, if they have a house on it now, but they have enough room to cut it in half to put up a business, we have to state that that lot can be smaller than the 60,000 square feet, but it has to be a business, can't be a residence. No? No.
So this would be its own zone. So the residence part or the residence A district would be almost irrelevant.
Right.
This would have its own dimensional requirements. Now, whether or not, you're saying you want to keep them the same as residential A, that's just the number part. It has nothing to do with the residence district. Do you know what I mean? So if you're saying you want it to be 60,000 square feet, it's 60,000 square feet for the business. For whatever the allowed uses are, it's
Right.
60,000 square feet. You can't kind of pick, like, you know, if you wanted to do like an
Right.
accessory business, like Rick had alluded to earlier, in the residential A district, that's different. But this would be its own zone, its own frontage, its own dimensional requirements, that it would adhere to. So like if you said, like let's say you want it to be 20,000 square feet, it would be, you know, it would have to have 20,000 square feet for the uses that are allowed in that district. It's not like a, do you know what I mean? Am I explaining that well?
I wonder, you know, I wonder how many vacant lots there are, or not, you know, or, it just seems like we've carved up so many Form A lots virtually everywhere in town that they could be carved out. There's quite a number of older structures that have more land in the back. And a lot of the historical business / residential uses, somebody had a house and then there was another building for the business or the farm or the welding shop or whatever it was. You know, if you've got a lot with a house on it, that's basically a one-story house. There's not much of any way you're going to have a residence above unless you basically tear it down and start over again. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'll be looking at that as I drive up and down Main Street, you know, for a little while now.
I mean, not to kind of move off, but Victoria and I, one day, not long ago, we were sitting in the planning board office and we were looking at this map regarding discussion of the next one, discussion on comprehensive zoning review, which is something that we've talked about regarding these shaded areas. Like if this is a 20,000 square foot area, house lot area, then these should be able to be 20,000 square feet as well. But then we're like, where do you draw the line? If this guy abuts this one, and these are all 20,000, and this is 4 acres, can he cut these 4 acres into all 20,000? It's like you're opening up a can of worms.
Oh yeah,
So-
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So we quickly realized that there's so much more involved in this than we realized. That Victoria had a good idea that when what is it when the grant thing opens up, Victoria?
About January, the grant opens up for the one stop. So did you want me to?
Please.
Okay. So similar to how we got the grant for the master plan, so it would be that same grant program through the Community One Stop for Growth, which is a state program. You can apply for what's called a comprehensive zoning review. So, you know, we mentioned, like, for example, we don't have a table of use for any of our districts. A lot of communities have one singular table of use. You can look at everything in one page. There's a few inconsistencies throughout the zoning bylaw. There's ambiguities in there. So this zoning review would sort of look at the entire picture. You know what I mean? And if we wanted to take a bigger look at our residence district or potentially having sub-districts, that's something we could look at through that review. We would also be able to have an consultant that would help with that, which would be really helpful because there's a lot of, you know, data-driven stuff that's involved that I personally don't have the software to use. So it would be really helpful. It's kind of beyond in-house capabilities, I guess I should say.
Right, and that's what we brought up before. If we could have, like, start off with a blank map of Acushnet, and then we could have a plastic overlay, but now everything's done on computers. You have an overlay, this is the water, where the water mains are. Then you have another overlay, this is where the sewer is. So we have a better general
That's
idea.
GIS.
Right, exactly. And then
Yes.
you need, okay, what
don't
is
have-
open space? What is conservation? Like, we could be looking at this, and all of these are conservation, we can't build on any of them. Anyways, so it's like, we realized quite quickly that we don't have the capability in-house to do this, and then that's when Victoria brought up the one-stop grant.
Certainly not on a part-time basis, that's right.
Oh,
I mean, I do my best.
not on a part-time basis, a voluntary basis, not at all. So after, you know, we're going back and forth, and we started drawing lines. Oh, maybe we'll go here, or maybe we'll go there. No, can't do it that way. So, as far as comprehensive zoning review, we're gonna look into, Victoria's gonna look into that one-stop grant to see if we can get.
That would be marvelous, you know,
Yeah.
because then somebody will have about the hours and the graphics capabilities
Yes.
to
Everything,
to
yeah.
do the
Absolutely.
overlays and say, here's what you've got now. You know, we understand you want to, you know, encourage business in this area.
This is what you can
How-
do.
how- yeah, this is what's available to encourage the mixed use, or whatever you want to call it.
Right,
Um,
right.
And they may have they should have some very good ideas on
Mm-hmm.
different kinds of mixed use zonings that you can utilize, so that, you know, it's also driven by economics. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, there's gotta be an economic benefit to somebody to locate a business out on North Main Street. And it's, without that, you can put all the zonings together you want, and it's not gonna make any difference.
But, I mean, just think of this, I was at the town meeting on Monday night, and they voted on putting a clubhouse on the golf course. So now that's gonna go through, and they're gonna go ahead and put a clubhouse on that golf course. One, we get a lot of traffic going to the golf course. Two, we're gonna get more traffic going to the golf course if there's events there, if there's restaurant there, and there's weddings there. I don't know what exactly they're gonna do. But now somebody can put a little business right outside with golf store, with, you know, selling golf equipment and golf this and golf that. And, you know, people would wanna open up smaller businesses with the amount of traffic that, I mean, we have a lot of traffic on Main Street as it is, but, I mean, the increased traffic that we're gonna get on Main Street, I think this would encourage it. So yes, I think,
No, I think it's a good idea. And it's
I just
it-
think you're
it just-
right. It's just now, remember what you and I were talking about these, and it started getting really, I think this one is becoming the exact same way. I think it's becoming over with a lot of open questions that, you know what I mean? So let me ask you, if we do apply for this one-stop grant, could we encompass both of these, the amending of the business village and the zoning review? Is that something that they could do together and all in one, or is it?
But wouldn't you be getting the information from the one that's gonna be,
Well, one is for
The zoning
zoning,
review.
for like, zoning review is for like residential zoning.
Well, no, it's zoning as
Right,
a whole.
that-
Look at our, typically the zoning bylaws
Right.
itself, finding consistencies, you know, things like that, things that aren't clear. I can take a look at some other ones of what other communities have done. I've never been through one myself. But I don't know if you'd get as in-depth as you wanted. Like, I feel like that's almost like a separate thing, you know, for a new zoning bylaw. But I can look and see what other communities.
I just, like, a lot's been brought up and
Yeah.
questions now, like, in my head, like, yeah, I think of what you're saying, of like, bringing the zoning requirement down, and then I listen to Brian and Rick, and, all right, we don't wanna do this, because we wanna keep it 60,000 square feet. It's like, now there's a lot more.
Yeah, well, I
that-
think, like I said, I think maybe if you want to wait and try and see if we can do that through the one stop, that's fine. But I think we need to kind of have a clear vision of what we're looking for.
right, and I think we're also looking at too many things at once. Okay?
Yeah, I think other things are kind of getting involved in the
Exactly, I
discussion,
mean,
but,
this all
yeah.
started out with, let's turn, you know, commercial or business along Main Street, and then we're moving over here, there, and we should, right now, let's just concentrate on, let's move that along, and not anything else.
That's, yeah, and that's what we are gonna do, because now we're gonna kind of put the zoning review on hold until we can look into the one-stop and let them kind of, if we can get the grant, let them do that. But yeah, let's concentrate on commercial on Main Street to Lake Street and what we all kind of want to see out of that.
Right, and so that we're not jumping around town
Yeah.
trying to, you know, let's get one place squared away first. Move on after that.
I agree. Well, let's try to accomplish one thing today, which is renaming.
Okay.
That's one of the issues that we have to do is, so I think we've all come to the conclusion that we're gonna need another district, right?
So two separate
Two separate districts.
districts.
See, it's the cleanest way to do it.
Okay, so let's stay with what we have now as the business village district. What would we like to name it when it leaves the business village district and it goes from here to Lake?
Well, I like this other one that you have here, the Greater Village Mixed Use District.
I like that one. The Greater Village Mixed Use District. GV Mud. GV,
No more acronyms, just two letters, that's all I want.
GVMUD.
After 2 letters, you'll lose me.
Do we like that name? Is that something we want to kind of keep
Yeah,
running with?
I think that's fine.
I kinda like it.
I'm good with that.
Okay, that, at least we accomplished that today. And then, yes, we need to really, and maybe I need to kind of reconfigure exactly what I was thinking regarding this.
I would honestly really start with allowed uses, because that
Allowed uses.
allowed uses, what uses do you want to allow in that zone? Period. Like I brought up the contractor's yard just because I know the building inspector had some problems in the south end of town, with that. And that it's not gonna generate a lot of tax revenue.
No,
And,
no. I don't think, I know if you can consider that a business, but yeah.
Well, and again, that's why you have a list of allowed uses. And it's only the allowed uses that you can do in that zone. And contractors yard just wouldn't be.
It's gonna be a generator of monies,
I mean, typically,
Yeah,
you're
it's
talking
gonna-
about a retail operation of some kind.
Right,
Country Hardware, which is no more, well, it's only a couple days a week now. That would be a retail use.
Right,
Retail, and restaurants, I mean, those are the two that come to the top of my head.
and even like, what would you call a service base, like a hair salon or a dog groomer?
I mean, that's,
Right.
that goes right in,
That's
that
all.
goes right in the list.
That's kind of,
Yeah.
those are the things that,
Right.
I started my brain working on little things like that. If somebody wants to open up a little hair salon place or a dog grooming place or a golf shop, two
Yeah.
doors
but
down
you have
from
the
the
golf
golf.
course, we got an auto body, we have a place that does the porta-johns, we have,
There's a lot of different
we have-
uses out there right now.
Right, exactly.
Rep Weld, which used to be a concrete plant at
Exactly.
one time.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the cement in
Wouldn't
mobile
that
home park
Capaldi had
came
that,
from
didn't
there. Was
I didn't know that.
Campanella and Cardi, I think.
Yeah, Campanelli, not Capaldi.
Campanelli.
Yeah, Campanelli.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But,
But
yeah, so I mean,
so
those are more,
so that's
but those are more industrial uses. And that's again why you have the list of allowed uses, period. And concrete plant and things like that aren't part
Not
of it.
permitted.
Yeah.
all right. So
I mean, you've got a small, out in front of the Brookside Mobile Home Park, you've got a small group of buildings that are basically used for commercial purposes. So it's not uncommon in that part of town.
So let me throw something at you. So let's just keep Repweld as an example. So Repweld's a decent sized piece of property. If Repweld wanted to sell his lot, some contractor came in, bought that lot, and they put a road smack dab down the middle of it,
Mhm.
and wanted to put businesses all along that thing.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, we'd have to septic and all that, I know
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
other things that go with it, but let's just say somebody came in and said, I'm gonna put a road smack dab down the middle and have a strip mall, whatever, just business. How how would you make the,
Yeah, but when you say strip mall, it's not like strip malls divided into lots. I mean, you're just putting up this one building that's gonna have five, whatever.
5 storefronts in it,
Right.
so to speak?
So it's not like you're cutting up the lot in order to do that.
You could do that, I mean, but, and you would just, and that would be one way to accomplish smaller lot sizes, that if it's just a business and not a residential zone, not a residence also, then, you know, that would be one way to encourage more commercial property out there.
Those are the things that kind of are in my head. It's something like Repwell. I'm not saying it would ever happen, that's
Yep.
just an example. But something like Repwell that has a decent piece of property, has frontage on Main Street. What if he or somebody else wanted to blow a road in there and have businesses that, so you could go in and you would have, you know, it could be office space, it could be a salon, it could be a lawyer's office, it could be a dog groomer, it could be,
Yep, there's no, it's easy, I mean, it's just lot size, frontage, and allowed uses.
that's kind of what I got in my head as far as what I'm thinking for this. You know, we don't have very many Repwells, you know, on Main Street, but, I mean, we have Keith's Farm, which is a monstrosity, but that's, you know, going to.
Does the town own that now?
No, it's the Acushnet Fairhaven Land Trust.
Okay, so that, but that's locked up, I mean, if it's a.
Permanently protected.
Yeah, so there's
Absolutely.
nothing you can do with that.
No, that'll
Yeah.
stay protected in perpetuity.
I mean, that's one of the bigger pieces of land.
Mhm.
It's,
It's actually the last biggest farm in Acushnet, that's it.
You got Peter's Orchard, there's some land there, you know, whether it's workable or not, I have no idea. Most of Ashley's is been carved up.
Right.
I mean, you've got that intersection between Perry Hill and Main Street. You know, you've got farms there that, you know, where there's land available, if they want to carve it up for business, kind of a thing. I mean, granted, you know, septic and all that,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
part, that becomes another part of the constraints.
But, right,
But,
that's
But
not,
certainly, there's no reason why you couldn't pick, like, the lot that Country Hardware sits on, or the lot across the street. I don't know who owns that now, across Perry Hill. You know, you could word it so that you could do more businesses there by right.
yeah, 'cause Country Highway owns that whole farmland behind it.
I don't know the limits of what,
I don't
you know,
either.
what
I don't
is
either.
owned by that. But there is, all I can tell you is there is farmland out on the back of Country Hardware. And there is farmland across from Country Hardware on the other side of Perry Hill Road. You know, that's a block of land also that's available.
Well, let's start with, I guess, a list of usages, like you had suggested.
What kind of
A lot of
uses do you want to
uses.
allow?
Is it helpful if maybe I look at other communities who have this sort of similar
Yeah,
business
Yes.
district and
Yeah.
kind of pull their table of uses?
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. It's always easier to find something that you like, rather than trying to, if you create something from new, you always make mistakes.
Yeah, no, let's,
It doesn't matter what it
let's
is.
piggyback on somebody else's
Somebody
work.
else who
Yeah,
already made the
yeah,
mistake.
okay. Sounds good. We don't want to beat this one up. It's going to be a continued conversation. I think we got a lot of good things out of this one.
Is it okay? I'm just not gonna be here for the next meeting. Can I have this prepared for the December meeting?
Sure. Next meeting, yeah. Okay, good. And I already discussed the discussion of the comprehensive zoning, that we're gonna try to go for that one-stop grant to help us out with that one as well.
That would be that as a separate issue would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I
Agreed.
think it just opens up a lot of questions and a lot of issues.
I think what I'm gonna make some work for myself, but what I would like to do, certainly I can drive along Main Street and just list what businesses are there now. So that will be a place to start about, you know, whether that's something you want to encourage or whether it isn't.
Mhm.
You know, again, a place that's completely covered with parked vehicles, whether it's the auto body place across from Mr. Cesspool or not, I mean, that's something that's gotta be considered. And that's something that you would work into the table or until the coverage requirements, the parking requirements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When I say coverage, you can say total impervious coverage no more than 50%. I'm just pulling that out, that's one way to prevent the whole thing from becoming a parking area, which it doesn't generate any revenue. And is probably something that I wouldn't want to live right next to if I just bought my $750,000 house, my 60,000 square foot lot. So let me just go make a list, and I'll do it for the next meeting. It's not going to be huge, of the different businesses that are along Main Street. And I will concentrate from Hamlin Street down to Lake Street.
Lake Street, yeah.
Okay.
That's the kind of area we're talking about, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I would do that for the next meeting,
Perfect. That'd be great. That'd be great.
generate some discussion.
Perfect. Okay. Our next meeting is Thursday, November 20th. Anything else anybody wants to discuss or bring up or talk about? I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
6:58.